Hello and welcome back to another Behind the Scenes. This channel has evolved quite a bit over the last couple of weeks as I've refined both the software and the technique and styles involved in building these videos, much of which has been quite labor intensive, but the results are very pleasing. The new backgrounds, the dark snow effect, has turned out to be very, very interesting now that I have finally found a way of adding sparkles. The metaphor behind the background is quite interesting, but the sparkles simply add another depth to it. The ideal I've always wanted in building this channel, the layout I've created, was the image of the story as it was being read, framed by the outside world trying to distract or get in. That's really what the dark snow background represents, is the distractions of the outside world from what we really should be paying attention to. The framing just a nice separator between the ancestral story and the outside world. The lesson or history versus modern day shiny lights and sparkling moments, the little toys we take for granted within our society. What's really developed in this channel is how much history has repeated itself within modern news and sociological events. As I've researched these videos, the content behind them, building the scripts being used, so much of what we see today is being repeated from what happened centuries ago. Be sure to read the comments of each of the videos because I put a lot of history in that context. It's interesting how, in a way, a phrase comes to life that really does resonate. Tomorrow really is yesterday. Even in these latest video I did, one I published this morning, it speaks of that specifically where modern day society is seeing the very same situation that happened from 100 BCE to 400 CE within the Roman Empire itself. It's almost as if it's a literal playbook between the two very distinct cultures. That really is, I don't know if you want to call it an uncanny valley, or we just have forgotten the lessons of the past. It's often said that if you don't learn the lessons of the past, you're doomed to repeat them. There seems to be a lot of truth in that. I continue to develop outwards with this framework, pushing the language models more and more into deeper components of the ancestral language and modeling process, trying harder and harder to pigeonhole the entire framework into a very distinctive flow, to increase the immersiveness and the resonance of the stories. Which really does bring me to my next point I want to talk about. I have been trying to put music in the background for my stories. That has gone well and not well at the same time. I have been using some various tools to help me construct this music to period accurate content, and some of it is very nice. Surprisingly nice considering how much of an idiot I am with these tools. And yet it sounds so nice, I actually don't like hearing words on them. So I've ended up creating a new playlist just for this music. It can be used for sleeping, relaxation, meditation, study, whatever. Because it's nice. Check it out, listen to it, leave your comments, let me know what you think. I haven't figured out how to set up the descriptions yet, so that's going to probably be some interesting rambling, but it is what it is. Moving forward with this framework I've built, whether it's within the music playlist that is available on YouTube Music, or through the stories themselves, also available on YouTube Music. I hope to really hone in this pre-industrial window as we continue to look at our modern-day society through this anthropological viewpoint. It's really interesting in how so much has changed in our modern-day living, and yet so much is exactly the same as previous cultures and societies. Let me know what you think of the aesthetic, the new imaging, the new music that I am releasing. And on the imaging itself, I went from using a charcoal-based effect to a chalk on tightly woven burlap, which is actually more period accurate historically for the 13th century to the 17th century. Burlap was incredibly well used and available, and chalk was a wonderful resource for teaching and keeping children occupied. Burlap often got recycled down from one component to another as it was used extensively. So having a small piece of canvas at the end of the life cycle for burlap for children to draw on was really an interesting way to continually use what they had. The chalk made it nice because it could just be shaken off or simply washed off, and the child or elder had another piece of cloth they could draw on, teach lessons on, or whatever. So it's really a fascinating approach, and I think the new image systems are really getting it down. But as always, there are mistakes. So part of this experience is really what those mistakes are. Which goes, of course, back to the greater point of why this channel even exists. It isn't just about teaching history or looking at our society from a different viewpoint. Fundamentally, it's about showing the good and bad of these AI systems and why they should not be trusted or used in life-critical situations. They're wonderful tools to learn from, but they still don't belong making life-critical decisions. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Share your thoughts. If you think these videos are good and you want to hear more of these stories, please give them a like. Help me grow this content on YouTube. Thank you.